Hey, it's Rick Kamla for Fantasy Points and my Week 4 college football ATS winners for you right now. Let's dive in. Biggest game of the week, Saturday night, primetime, Ohio State at Notre Dame. And I'm on the Irish plus 7.5, DraftKings number. It is the best bet. Battle of elite defenses. Ohio State second in the nation in points allowed, 6.7 per game. Notre Dame right on their heels at 11.8. In a game like this, premium on points, premium on quarterback play. I'm going to rock with Sam Hartman here, guys. He's in the Heisman conversation thanks to a sensational start. 1,061 passing yards, 15 total touchdowns in the first 4 games. Kyle McCord, on the other hand, he's been good the last 2 weeks, progressed since the lame game at Indiana. Last 2 weeks throwing for 576 yards, 6 touchdowns, and runaway wins over Youngstown State and Western Kentucky at home. Okay, obviously none of us are impressed, and I don't believe those numbers are going to translate against Notre Dame. They're allowing 127 yards and a half touchdown per game through the air. They're shutting down passing games. They're shutting down everything. This will be McCord's first real road test at Touchdown Jesus at night on national television against a great defense and against a great quarterback. This is a recipe for an Ohio State loss, okay? Yet they're favored on the road, tons of money coming in on Ohio State. I'm going the other way here, guys. And you think about what Notre Dame has defensively. They've got Benjamin Morse, at least a competent matchup for the great Marvin Harrison Jr. Ohio State's going to struggle to run. Notre Dame's giving up 2.9 yards per carry this year, and I'm going big on this one. 3 units on Notre Dame plus the 7.5. Florida State at Clemson. I like the Noles plus 2.5. DraftKings number, another best bet. The last time Clemson played a game that really mattered, they got trucked by Duke 28-7. And Duke is better this year, but they're still Duke, okay? They have rebounded Clemson with massive home victories against Charleston Southern and FAU by a combined 114-31. And whoosh, flush all of that. I'll give you Kate Klubnik's stats in those games. 484 yards, 7 touchdowns. But he struggled in the only game that really counts, the Duke game, 27-43, 209, 1 score, 1 pick. Not cool. Is Klubnik ready for the athletic and hard-hitting Florida State defense that held Jaden Daniels and LSU to 7 second-half points? I don't believe so. I'm rolling with the Noles here. They're battle-tested, okay? They've won on a neutral field against LSU. They won at BC last week in a very, very tough game. And Clemson's not battle-tested at all right? Jordan Travis in the Heisman conversation like Hartman, 739 passing yards, 9 total touchdowns, 3-0 record. He proved his elite combination of tough and clutch last week. Had an upper body injury, played through a 222, 2 scores, gut check win at BC. Risk 2 units on this one. Again, another best bet, FSU plus the 2.5. Oregon State at Washington State. I'm on Washington State plus 3, DraftKings number. There's a lot to like here. I like the fact that Washington State is a home underdog. I like the fact that 82% of the action is coming in on the Beavers, allowing us to zig when the public is zagging. I like the way Washington State quarterback Cam Ward is playing so much I traded Drake May away to get him on both of my college football fantasy teams. 990 and 9 scores through the air, 95 and another 2 scores on the ground through 3 games. He's been one of the best players in the nation, and I believe he's ready to shine at home against an Oregon State defense that has not faced an elite quarterback or an air raid, okay? They're going to struggle with the step up in class, especially in the Palouse. Oregon State quarterback DJ Uiagalelei is off to a strong start. 10 total touchdowns, first 3 games, but he's been messy. 2 interceptions, only 61.8 completion rate against subpar competition, okay? Those positive stats are not going to translate for DJU, who has a tendency to come up choky in big games. Holler at Dabo Swinney and see what he's got to say about DJU in some of those big games. That's why DJU isn't his quarterback anymore. The Beavers have to run the ball effectively with Uiagalelei and Damian Martinez, who lives over 100 yards. He's averaging 117 on the year. But Washington State's defense allows only 95 rushing yards and 3.6 yards per rush. All right, I'm on State this week. Washington State, Mississippi at Alabama. I will take Ole Miss plus 15.5. Got the number off DraftKings. The market for this game has been volatile. Okay, Ole Miss started plus 15.5. 74% of the action coming in on them. Then Nick Saban says Jalen Milroe is going to start. Line stays at 15.5. despite the action coming up 26% Alabama to 44% of the action coming in on Alabama. But I don't want to roll with the tide here and play Alabama money. My trust in Alabama football has been wounded by the home loss to Texas and whatever that was last week at South Florida, right? That wasn't Alabama football. They almost lost to South Florida. My trust in Alabama football is also hurt because of how Nick Saban is handling his quarterback room. What was he seeing in practice to go with Tyler Buckner and Ty Simpson over Jalen Milroe, who, yes, will make a mistake or two, but he's electric and a freak of an athlete. Come on. It was unbecoming of a GOAT to see Nick vacillate on his quarterbacks and then immediately go back to Milroe. It's an upgrade, but I just don't like how Nick has handled this. Alabama is just too vulnerable, guys, to lay 15.5 points against a good ranked opponent in Ole Miss, who's very, very much alive to win this game outright. I would bang a money line on this, on Ole Miss on the side, try to get more bang for your buck. Star running back Quinshon Judkins was doubtful last week. He played against Tech, Georgia Tech, all right? He's going to be in there. Trey Harris, star receiver, 5 touchdowns in the first, 5 quarters of the season. He missed a game or two. He has returned to practice earlier this week, and he's trending towards playing. Jackson Dart, the quarterback of Ole Miss, dual threat stud so far. 852, 7 scores through the air, another 213 with 2 scores on the ground. Dart has been a starter at big-time programs now for the 3rd consecutive year. He is ready to go into Tuscaloosa and lead Ole Miss to an upset victory, if not live inside this number of 15.5. And I got one more for you here. Central Florida at Kansas State. Kansas State -5 on DraftKings. Okay, this matchup fits a lot of my favorite betting profiles. Kansas State, good team, returning home off a loss. Check. I also like that 71% of the action is coming in on the UCF side with a backup quarterback. That allows me and us to zig when everybody else is zagging. You have a veteran quarterback in Will Howard on the KSU side against an unproven sophomore in Timmy McClain on the UCF side. John Reese Plumlee is out, okay? McClain started last week, threw for 321, 2 scores in a blowout win over FCS Villanova, okay? You kind of ball it up and you throw it out. This week, McClain faces a much more difficult test on the road in Manhattan, places going crazy, and the Wildcats have beaten 2 cupcakes there by combined 97-13. All right, they're very dominant there. In fact, the Kansas State defense has been incredible. They've allowed 14.3 points overall, 50 rushing yards, and 1.8 yards per rush. This is going to be a tough one for UCF. Back to Will Howard. He's been rolling. 817 passing yards, 12 total touchdowns in 3 games, including a reception for a touchdown. UCF's defense has not played a dude like this. They've played Kent State, Boise State, and Nova all week at the quarterback position. And I think DJ Giddens, fantasy alert, is going to go off this week. Trayshawn Ward is trending towards doubtful and not playing. DJ Giddens has been a rock star, and he's ready to explode and pop in this home game against UCF. I'm Rick Kamla for Fantasy Points. Good luck with these wagers. Hopefully they all cash for us, and enjoy some college football this weekend.